The story of Three Eye Atlas didn't start with a bang, but with a blur, a vague, indistinct shape spotted in images from Mars. But the moment those images leaked, a digital firestorm was ignited. It began with amateur astronomers, night owls, and data detectives downloading the raw files from the Perseverance rover. They started stacking the images, layering them one on top of the other, trying to bring the unknown into focus. When they overlaid the predicted position of an object named Three Eye Atlas, the alignment was eerily precise. Even as a faint smudge, it was enough. The internet erupted in debate. Online forums and social media channels lit up with theories. Some claimed it was a perfectly cylindrical object, a manufactured shape impossibly adrift in space. Others, letting their imaginations run wild, suggested it was a massive cosmic USB drive, a data stick from the stars. Or maybe an alien monument, a silent sentinel watching over our solar system. Every attempt to clarify the image only added to the mystery. People applied filters, zoomed in until the pixels screamed, and analyzed it frame by frame. With each new look, the speculation grew more intense. They started noticing things, or what they thought were things, faint metallic glints, strange shadows that didn't seem to follow the rules of light, and what looked like geometric patterns etched onto its surface. Social media, as it always does, went into overdrive. On Twitter, users framed the blur, circling it with bold red lines, declaring with absolute certainty, "This is a structure, not a natural cylinder." Reddit forums became battlegrounds of conflicting theories. Was it just a cosmic ray hitting the camera sensor? A random digital artifact? Or was it something far more profound? A conscious object, aware of our gaze? The meme creators had a field day comparing it to everything from a lost piece of space junk to that USB drive you can never seem to plug in the right way on the first try, now writ large across the cosmos, sending us a message from the universe. But amidst all the noise and chaos, something incredible started to happen. Serious analysis began to emerge from the digital crowds. In dedicated astronomy communities on platforms like Discord, a different kind of work was underway. These groups weren't just sharing memes. They were collaborating, stacking hundreds of images, cleaning up the digital noise, and running complex calculations on Three Eye Atlas's trajectory. And what they found was astonishing. The object's movement, its path through space, matched the scientific predictions almost perfectly. This wasn't just a random glitch. It was real. It was out there. The story gets even stranger. Long before Three Eye Atlas became a household name, back in August of 2025, a researcher named Bird Dwarsky and his team were conducting a series of unconventional experiments. They were using a controversial technique known as remote viewing, attempting to perceive distant or unseen targets using only the mind. According to their session logs, they described a device embedded in a shell of ice, a device roughly the size and shape of a USB drive, but utterly alien in its design. Their notes claimed it was emitting rhythmic pulses of energy, like a cosmic heartbeat. Of course, these findings were not recognized by mainstream science. Remote viewing has long been dismissed as pseudoscience. Yet, their descriptions mirrored the later online speculation with an unsettling accuracy. They spoke of a hidden core, of strange markings on the surface, and a pulsing energy field that defied easy explanation. Was it a lucky guess? A coincidence? Or were they tapping into something real, something that our conventional instruments were not yet equipped to understand? The parallels were too specific to be ignored, adding another layer of high strangeness to the growing enigma of Three Eye Atlas. Then, on October 1st, 2025, an unexpected event threw another wrench into the works. NASA, the very agency at the heart of the discovery, entered a partial shutdown. Budgets, politics, the usual terrestrial problems. 15,000 engineers, analysts, and scientists were suddenly on leave. A skeleton crew remained, just enough to maintain critical operations like the International Space Station and the ongoing Artemis missions to the Moon. Data from Mars, from Perseverance and the other orbiters, continued to stream back to Earth. But with most of the experts gone, there was no one to properly calibrate it, to verify it, to put it into context. So, Raw, unverified files were dumped onto public servers. Incomplete datasets became the fuel for a public hungry for answers. And the silence from the official channels? It was deafening. It didn't calm the speculation. It poured gasoline on it. People started asking questions, and they were good ones. Mars is one of the most watched pieces of rock in the entire solar system. It's bristling with dozens of high-powered cameras both on the ground and in orbit. So why? Why were the only images we had of this potentially world-changing object these blurry, low-resolution shots from a single rover? The lack of information felt less like a technical limitation and more like a deliberate omission. The suspicion grew. Was something being hidden? As the world's scientists scrambled to catch up, the data that did trickle in began to paint a picture of an object that broke the laws of physics as we know them. In total, 7 distinct anomalies were recorded about 3I Atlas, each one more baffling than the last. First, its mass. Astrometric data, which tracks the precise movement of celestial bodies, confirmed it had an unusually heavy core. This thing was dense, far denser than any comet should be. Stranger still, its orbit was nearly motionless relative to its own outgassing. It was spewing gas and dust, which should have acted like a natural rocket engine, pushing it around. But 3I Atlas barely budged. Second, the tail. The dust and gas it was emitting trailed toward the sun, not away from it. Every comet we have ever observed has a tail pushed away from the sun by solar wind and radiation pressure. This was impossible. It was like watching smoke fall downwards instead of rising. Third, its chemical signature. Spectrographic analysis revealed strong spectral lines of nickel, but almost no iron. This composition is highly unusual for a natural object, but is common in industrial manufacturing processes. It suggested an artificial origin. Fourth, its polarization. The way light reflected off its surface was unlike anything ever seen in a comet. The patterns of polarized light hinted at a smooth, perhaps even metallic surface, not the rough, icy debris we'd expect. Fifth, its orbital inclination. It was moving on a path nearly perfectly aligned with the ecliptic plane, the flat disk on which most planets in our solar system orbit. This trajectory brought it dangerously close to the orbits of Venus, Mars, and potentially even Jupiter. It was navigating our solar system like it belonged here. 2 more anomalies are still under intense investigation, their details locked behind a wall of classification and scientific review. But each new piece of data confirms one undeniable thing. 3I Atlas is no ordinary comet. It's not a rock. It is something else entirely. So what is 3I Atlas? A 1 in a trillion natural phenomenon that just happens to mimic advanced technology across 7 different metrics? Or is it something more? A relic of a civilization far older than our own, a piece of technology so advanced we can barely comprehend its purpose? Is it a messenger, a probe, or just a piece of cosmic debris with a very, very strange story? The truth remains unknown, hidden in the blackness of space, orbiting a neighboring world. But one thing is absolutely certain. The mystery of 3I Atlas has captured the imagination of the entire planet, forcing us all to look up and wonder what, or who, else might be out there. The journey to find the answer has only just begun. Thanks for watching. If you're as fascinated by this mystery as we are, don't forget to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and hit that notification bell so you don't miss our next update on the strange saga of 3I Atlas.